my channel. My name is Jen. This is Bookmarked by Jenn. Little disclaimer, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but my husband is outside mowing the lawn and my child is with my mom. So I was like, look, perfect time to film. We're going to do it. So I apologize if you do hear the roar of the mower, but it shouldn't be too much longer. But that is not why you're here. Hopefully, you are here for some 5-star romance recommendations. I previously filmed my recent reads, and I put recent reads in quotation marks because they were recent reads like a month ago. But I had an idea in my head of how I wanted to space these out, and I really wanted these 5-star reads. I felt like they needed their own video. So that is what we are doing today. My God, you can definitely tell that I have not filmed in quite some time because I'm like trying to, it's like I forgot how to do it. Bear with me, you guys. Bear with me. Today we are talking about some 5-star romance recommendations that I've read recently, and I just feel like they need love. I gotta talk about them. Maybe you haven't read them and this is a push to read them. Maybe you've already read them and it sparks that I need to reread one of my favorite books again. Maybe, but let's go ahead and jump into my 5-star romance recommendations that you need to read right now. Right now. Stop the video and go read them. I'm just kidding. Don't stop. Watch the video, then go read them. The first book that I'm going to talk about is a near 5-star, which is why I put it in the beginning of this video. I did rate it a 4 stars, but like I said, near 5-star, and I just really wanted to talk about it. I did not talk about it in my previous video, so I'm going to talk about it here very quick, and then we're going to get into 5 stars, okay? The book that I want to talk about is Hold On to Me by Lucia Franco. This is a rewrite, guys. So if you did read Hold On to Me, actually, hold on a second. I have it right here. So this is the first edition. This new rewrite is told in first person. It is actually dual POV. This is between John and Alyssa. Now, I'm going to be honest. I actually thought that I read this book, and I have not. When I got the arc for Hold On to Me, I realized I never read this book. I do not know why, but I have not. So this was a brand new book for me. Several things were changed for her to call this a rewrite. So let's just get into this. This, again, I said, is about John and Alyssa. This is all about Alyssa, who moves to a very, very small town in Georgia with her mom. Alyssa's mom is very much that serial dater. It kind of reminded me of the movie with Susan Sarandon and Natalie Portman, Anywhere But Here. Is that the movie where she'll, like, the mom will fall head over heels for a guy, and then whenever he breaks her heart, they up and move in the middle of the night or whatever. Like, that's basically what it is. She moves them every time her and her current boyfriend break up, and right now they are in Georgia. Her mom has said, this is it, like, we're gonna stay here. Almost immediately, she meets John and one of his friends, and she's very much kind of like that city girl. I'm not gonna get dirty, these are country boys, but like they're cute country boys, and they immediately have this chemistry, her and John. They become really good friends, but there is like this immediate chemistry between these two. The banter is there, the flirtiness is there, but they decide that they're going to be just friends. And then eventually, but like also kind of quickly, it's like a friends with benefit kind of thing. They're very strange in that it's like they both want to be together, but they're just not going to be together. So they're going about their merry way. He is teaching her how to get dirty and love it and be a little bit of a country girl at heart. But then tragedy strikes and John becomes absent. He withdraws from Alyssa. He basically just withdraws from life for a moment because he just doesn't know how to deal, and she doesn't know how to be there for him when she's trying to be, but he keeps pushing her away, and it pushes her, I wouldn't say into the arms of another guy who is pretty shady, but circumstances happen and she ends up dating this other guy while John is away doing his own thing. Then he comes back, and he's back for his friend because he wants more than a friendship, obviously. He's always wanted more than a friendship. He wants her. But things are not the way that they left. And he has to deal with that. And he has to deal with a pretty different Alyssa from when he left. She is a little bit broken. And that is putting it mildly. This basically is the story of how they find each other again, how they heal old and new wounds, and just, I'm telling you what, like, if you know Lucia Franco, then you know that she loves them spicy boys. She loves them dirty sex scenes. She knows how to make a bad boy good. Like, damn, James Riviera, Koba. Okay, this is her version of a cinnamon roll hero. Okay, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it immensely, and I also think, without having read the first edition, I feel like just the presence of a first-person POV just ups it anyway. So that is my first romance recommendation. Although I put it as a 4, it is a very high 4. I absolutely think that you should read it if you have not already. Let's move on to actually our buddy read for March, which was When She Unravels by Gabrielle Sands. Now, I was just coming off of all these other books that kind of put me in a weird place reading-wise. I mean, I took a break from reading because it's like I wanted to read, but what I had been reading was like good. Like, some of it was good. In the moment, I was really invested in the book, but as soon as I finished the book, couldn't tell you who the characters' names were. I could give you maybe a couple things about the book, but like, it wasn't, you know, you want that book that just, you know, like, that's why we read. I wasn't getting those. So to come off of all of that, and then to go into our buddy read, which, I mean, obviously I knew I was going to read, this one absolutely surprised me and kind of propelled me into what I read later on, and kind of put me, I guess I would say, like, put me back on the map of, like, finding good books. So, like I mentioned, this is the buddy read, and FYI, we do go into greater detail about this over on our live show. I'm going to leave it up in a card and down in the description box for you so you can go look if you'd like to. But also, I do want to reiterate that we would love to have you guys. So we give you the book well in advance. If you haven't read it, you can read it. If you have read it, or even if you, like, don't care to read it, but you just want to listen to some girls gossip about some books and just talk about some crazy stuff, because we go every single time off on some type of tangent, whether that is, we're not going to talk about what we go off on a tangent about, you'll have to join us. But we also, like, all of us, Amber, Jessica, Mandy, we all put it on our Instagram account, and then we put it over on our community tab on YouTube as well. So, but we would love to have you. But we're going to go into it. So, When She Unravels, I was really excited about this one because it was a mafia romance, and because of what I had read previously, like I said, I was like, yes to this, because I love mafia romance, and I don't know, lately, mafia romance, I wouldn't say it's like a palate cleanser, but it always, I mean, I wouldn't say always, but for the most part lately, like, it tends to get me back in the groove of things. This one, I was really, really interested in because, unlike a lot of the mafia romances that I've read, this one takes place in Ibiza, which a lot of them are in America. So that was a really cool destination. This is between Valentina and Damiano. Valentina, or Vale, she comes from a mafia background, and it is not a good mafia background. She loves her sisters. She has 2 sisters, but her mom and her dad, not so much. Like, they're not the greatest people. And I really loved that aspect too, because even though, like, the Born in Blood series from Cora Riley, or the Neva Altaj series, right? It's like an arranged marriage, they still have, like, most of the time, I'm not gonna say all the time, but most of the time, like, they still have a decent relationship with their family. I liked that this wasn't the case. That brought an added layer to this that I really like. If you haven't read this series, so this is the first book in the series. I don't know if I mentioned, I also had not read anything by Gabrielle Sands, but I will go ahead and tell you this, like, I was really intrigued. I would not mind continuing on with this series. I had other things that were planned, so I couldn't, go into this immediately, but I really do feel like I want to circle back around and dive into um, the subsequent books after this. But Dale has been given to one of her dad's like highest enforcers, and this man is depraved. Like, he's psychotic, and she wants nothing to do with him. Like, she's afraid of him. She doesn't want to be with him. She can't believe her parents gave her to him, and she wants out, and she escapes. And the way she escapes is pretty badass. But she ends up in Ibiza, and she ends up working for Damiano. What she doesn't realize, which I found like a little far-fetched for her not to like, you're in a mafia world, so I feel like when you're in a mafia world, like, it's really easy for you to pinpoint other mafia people, right? Not the case for Vale here. I think she just wanted out so bad that she put on some blinders, because if she took a minute and took those blinders off, like, she would realize Damiano's connections, and they were very much like mafia. So, but but whatever. She ends up working for him at one of his nightclubs, and they end up falling in love. But what she doesn't know is that he is a part of the mafia, and again, she does not want any part of the mafia. But she ran away from her husband, ran away from her father, who has very big connections, and then she runs right into the arms of another mafia person who they're having this type of relationship with, but there's some other plot twists in there as well. There is a very intense attraction with these two. I loved Vale's strength, though, and I really just, there was a lot of things about this book that were unlike other mafia books that I've read, and I just kept finding myself very pleasantly surprised throughout reading it, which is why I was like, I'm really interested in what is happening with these other side characters too, and that's why I was like, I kind of want to circle back around, especially Damiano has a sister. I would very much like to see what happens with the sister. I believe she is a second book, but again, I really enjoyed the strength of Vale, and I think, again, coming off of the books that I was reading, to find this type of strength in my heroine when I was getting annoyed. Like, we all know that I can get annoyed with my heroines, and we all know that, I mean, I feel like a lot of us are a lot harder on our heroines than we maybe should be, but I just, sometimes, I get to that limit, but Vale kind of pulled it back in for me. Her strength, and how she just found, like, the will to live. Like, I want to live, and I'm going to conquer my demons, whether they want to be conquered or not. I just really, really enjoyed this book, which is why I gave it a 4.5 to a 5-star. So I'm saying 5-star. And I really absolutely feel like you should read it if you haven't. My next 5-star romance recommendation is Gianna Darling's newest release, Serpentine Valentine. Woohoo! So it is a dark academic romance. It is a Medusa retelling. It is a sapphic romance. I do believe it's her first sapphic romance, like, full on. Let me know if I'm wrong in that, but I do believe that is correct. So this follows Alexandra, or Lex, and Luna. Like I said, Medusa retelling. Lex goes through some shit. She is a badass character, and I absolutely love her. That being said, Luna is a badass character, and I absolutely loved her. I loved how she takes on who she is. She doesn't apologize for who she is. When she starts to develop feelings for Lex, she doesn't shy away from that. She is very forthcoming, even if it's going to cause ridicule, or, I mean, the absolute absurdity of the fact, like, where we live and how we live in today's society, how people are still just so cruel. Like, let people be who they are going to be. It's not hurting you. But Luna is just unapologetically her, and I absolutely loved that. So she predominantly only dated males, and she does actually have a boyfriend when we start this book, but when her and Lex start communicating with each other and then forming a relationship, Luna is very much all in, and she's very upfront about that. She is very upfront about that, and I love that. I loved how she just took on who she was. I was dating a boy, but I am falling for this girl, and that's okay. I am who I am. I especially loved her strength for Lex. Gianna Darling, I mean, we know her, right? Like, we know how poetic she writes. Like, you know it's her writing. It's very poetic, it's very descriptive, and it's gorgeous. I don't think that I could do this book justice. It was absolutely gorgeously written. I feel like she depicted the sexual abuse, and I hate to say beautifully, but it was raw, and it was just done so well. I just found it perfect for the story. I loved everything about it. I could not get enough of it. Such a good book. If you haven't read it, please pick it up. It's absolutely amazing, and the relationship between these two, like, you feel it. I mean, unlike the Valentine series, we do get some real spice, okay, real spice from Gianna, and there isn't too much, but what you get from these two in regard to it's perfectly placed. It's beautiful. The interaction between these two is just, it's perfect. It was perfect. I love this book. I love it. So I implore you to go read Serpentine Valentine if you have not. 5 stars. Okay, so I only have one more book to talk about. And this book, I could probably talk about this book for just ever. It is definitely in my top 10 of the year. At this point, it is definitely in the top 5 of the year. The emotions for this book, if I could give this more stars, I absolutely would. It has been on my TBR for a little bit of time. I have not read it because I don't think I was ready for the emotional roller coaster. I knew that it was going to be emotional. I didn't know how emotional. I didn't know very much about it because y'all know I find the best gems when I go in blind. Tears. The tears were real. I think the last time that I shed tears like this when I was reading Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. So I need to get into the book. What is the book? I feel like it's been getting a little bit of hype lately because the new cover edition just came out, which is what I have here. Absolutely deserves the hype. I'm going to tell you what that is because, Jesus. It is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. Oh my God, y'all. I finished this, and I told my mom, like, whatever you're reading, you have to stop and pick this up, please. She has actually not had time to read it. She's not very far into it, but she in for something. I actually almost want to reread this again because I read it on my Kindle, then I ordered this cover afterwards because I needed it in my possession, but I almost want to go back and reread it so then I can, like, annotate my favorite parts. That are so many, but, like, the emotions, like, I just don't think that I can with the freaking emotions. But I also want to say, so we read romance, and I love dark romance. Like, it's one of my favorite things. The fact that I fell so hard for a true cinnamon roll hero, I was so taken back from, especially if you've read it. Like, there's a little bit of a love triangle, a little bit going on, and I think because of, like, all the shit that I had read, I was waiting for this other shoe to drop. Like, I just was like, this man can't be who we think he is. Like, he can't. Oh, he was. He was. So I kind of feel like I did myself a disservice because I'm waiting for that other shoe to drop, not realizing, like, just how good of a man this man is, and I want to reread it so I can just bask in his amazingness. Oh my God. This follows Ariana and Noah. I loved everything about this book. Just when you thought that you had it figured out, boom, this bitch hits you with the twist, and you're like, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. No. Then you kind of recover from that, and she hits you again, and I'm like, woman, what are you doing to me? Just the simplicity of this. So, I do want to say this, though. Like the Chloe Walsh series, Boys of Toman, especially with, well, yeah, I guess all of them, how you go through the day-to-day, and sometimes that is a turnoff to people, and sometimes it can be if it's not written correctly. That's not this. I absolutely believe that you needed to go through those, just like with the Boys of Toma series. Like, you needed to go through that day to day with them so that you could really understand the meat and potatoes of the relationship, the story, and everything. Because you get a good portion of what's going on at the very beginning, but then she meets Noah, and you get the little conversations here and there, and they don't see each other that much, but they have these little clipped conversations, and then they get to college, and they start this really amazing friendship. But he is just so amazing, and I absolutely, like, I cannot get enough of him. Also, this, I'd say, like, found family, but, like, really, she was, like, kind of born into this family. It's her and a group of, well, it's a group of 5 people. So it's her twin Mason, who is a football player, and their, let's see, and then her best friend, and then his 2 best friends, and they take care of each other. Like, the boys take care of the girls, and they're all best friends. And I mean, they have a beach house together that their parents gave them. They do everything together. What was I saying? So they're going into college, right? So obviously they're gonna meet new people. They were in high school. They grew up together. They're in high school. They basically have their friends, but it's this close circle. So all of them are going off to college, to the same college together, because they just can't stand to be apart. But they're going to meet new people, and that's what happens. So Ariana and Noah do meet in the summertime, but she is hung up on somebody else, and Noah sees that. So he's not going to insert himself into something that could potentially leave him heartbroken. But they re-meet up, I guess, in college, and they start spending some time together, and he is just the epitome of, he's perfect. I mean, like, he's too good to be true, which is why I thought, like, something about to happen. Like, the second shoe about to drop, like, what is going on? He cannot be this amazing. He is that amazing. Now I understand the hype of this book, you guys. I am in love with this boy. I am in love with the story. I want to shout this from the rooftops. I want everybody to read it. I want to cry right now just thinking about it. Like, it's just, it was amazing. I mean, this chick, she did some good, okay? If I could read this story over and over and over again, I honestly, I would be really happy. It's just, it's one that I'm going to continue to recommend. It's like, it's up there, right? It's up there with The Boys of Toman. It's up there with Off Balance. I mean, I can't even think at the moment. Like, it's up there. It's one of those books where you're just, for all time. And honestly, like, the spice too, like, the sex scenes are so, like, you have a cinnamon roll hero, but, like, it's almost like, I don't know, like, you got a lady in the streets, but a freak in the sheets, but, like, for a guy. I mean, Ari got a mouth on her too, and she's not afraid to, like, do the damn thing, but like, Noah, he breaks my heart. Like, this book literally broke my heart. It put it back together, shattered it again. Just read it. If you haven't read it, read it. Top 5 of the year. Absolutely top 5 of the year. And those are my 5-star romance recommendations, because honestly, like, I could go on and on about this book, but, like, if we want to talk about it, like, let's talk about it. I need somebody who has read it. Like, let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about our favorite parts, because God almighty, like, let's do that. Read yourself. Serpentine Valentine, faux show. You need to read it. If you want a little bit of a mafia romance that is a little bit different, When She Unravels, Hold On to Me by Lucia Franco. I mean, like, there's just so many good here, okay? I know that there was only a few, but, like, they're good ones. There's quality. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not quantity, but it's quality. So those are my 5-star romance recommendations. What do I have coming your way? Okay. I am finishing up the last book of the trope romance recommendations that I'm doing. I have a little bit of a haul coming your way. I have been accumulating some books over the past couple months. Not a lot. It would be a very small haul if you're interested in seeing that. And yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I've got I don't know, if there's something that you want to see from me that you haven't, or something that you have seen from me that you want to see again, just, leave me a note in the comments. I love hearing from you guys anyway. But that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know what your most recent 5-star read is, or if like one of these are a 5-star read for you, or even if they're not. You can tell me that too, because I really enjoy seeing people's point of views. That's why I started this. That's why I love reading. I love it all. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go. You guys get to reading. I'm going to go finish my book, and I will catch you in the next video. But until then, as always, happy reading. Bye.